Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Michael Austin and I are back for the Australian Survivor Redemption finale. And this is exciting. Austin, you got your first draft win. So
Oh my God, my team didn't tank at the end for once. Well, they kind of did, but Caleb won. Let's go.
the Chaos Gremlin wins for once.
Oh my
I
God.
will,
Thank
I will say for the first time, like I'm the only one of us that's had a player in Final Tribal all three times we've done it. So I'm gonna take that victory.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that like my last two picks, once Simon went out, I'm like, I'm not winning this.
Yeah, yours was kind of tough, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You had Laz. That was your last person standing.
Yeah, Laws was my last per, which is funny. So Australia versus the world, I don't think, well, I think all of us had a pick, but it was like, I think Michael had two, and then I had one in Austin. You had three, I believe. So we all had picks there, and then Brains versus Brawn two. Like all three of us had one in the finale. So I mean, we've all managed to somehow get a pick in the finale at least. So every time. But yeah, I mean, let's get into the specifics here of this finale. So episode 22, we're kicking it off, and Jackson is upset about the Underdogs Alliance being called that because they've pretty much, actually taken out the actual underdogs. But
Are you saying you can't be an underdog when you're in a massive majority?
right, you can't.
I know, it's so silly.
Poor Jackson here. I mean, he was in a really rough spot for most of this game. And like I know what it's like to actually be the underdog, and like everybody has been gunning for you and you're just fighting to stay alive.
See, they took the word underdog and stretched it very hard here because I think if we all just think about it, the underdog to them is like, oh, we're newbies, or oh, we're gonna go against the returnees, and we're all against them, and let's get rid of them. And that was like Caleb's whole pitch, right, for most of these episodes. Like, I
Right.
want to get rid of them all, but yeah, under calling yourselves the underdog and being in pretty much the majority most of the game, it's kind of funny, just a little funny to me.
This season was sponsored by the words underdog and kaput.
Yes. Yeah. The Kaput Alliance. I never have heard the word kaput so many times in my life.
I'm
I
here
will
for
say
it. It's
in
my
this,
favorite alliance of the season.
it's my favorite alliance, but I'm sick of hearing the word.
Yeah.
I will say during this first portion of the episode as well, the entire thing is just like a Caleb hype package, like
Yeah.
him going out to sea on a raft.
Yeah.
And I was like, if there was any doubt in anyone's mind who was winning this season, it was pretty obvious after the beginning of episode 22.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Like, I feel like at certain points, like Australian Survivor does make their winners fairly obvious. I mean, like, there's some doubt, like, in the middle of each season, but like when you look back on it, at least most of the winners after like the first four seasons were pretty visible from the beginning. So, I guess maybe yeah, it's the first four winners and then Liz that I don't feel like were like super visible. So, um, but yeah, so Jackson does try to get Sally to target Caleb, which is gonna kind of pay off here when Jackson does end up winning this Final Four immunity, which is the giant obstacle course, which is like a staple of Australian Survivor. At the end, usually the Final Four challenge is something like this. So I enjoy these giant challenges at the end. I think it's needed like as like one of the final tests.
I think as talking with the tense that we already know who wins, I almost think Jackson winning was a good thing for Caleb here
Yeah.
because it gets like he at this point I'm assuming he's always going at least fire making in any of the scenarios. But I mean if Jackson loses, he loses. Jackson probably goes home, right? And then the
Right.
final three, I mean Sally might clutch it, and then it's kaput to it's good. It's adios, Caleb. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
don't know. I was thinking about that earlier today, and I was like, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened.
Yeah, I actually think that that could have definitely happened because I think Sally like is like generally a woman, and someone like a woman who is physical, maybe has smaller feet, generally wins those types of challenges at the end where you're standing on the things. I mean, I think like Haley Leak, like Haley is such a dominant physical player, and she's like a smaller woman, so like she's easily able to win like these types of endurance challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Luke thing where it's like they're a huge threat, but because Australian Survivors final challenges are so physical, like being a bigger guy, they're never going to win that. So as much as they were desperate to get Jackson out, like he was never going to win that challenge.
Yeah,
We'll get into one of the most brutal things I've ever seen on
Oh
television.
my
But
I
like,
God.
know.
yeah, he's a kind of a perfect person to take as the guy you want to cut right at the end. Um, yeah, I love this challenge. Like there was so many cool components to it, like Sally being stuck on the
Oh my
bag
God.
throw for like for an eternity, and I like the little incline in the balance beam.
Yeah.
And like the throwing the ball, but you got to fill the bucket up. I just like there was like so many different components to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like these types of challenges, I sometimes have to go back and like rewatch them to kind of get like every single component, but it was cool. So, yeah, then Caleb and Laws make a deal to vote out Sally here because Jackson won immunity. And so, although like Sally does go to Laws about voting Caleb out, but Laws sticks with Caleb, and Sally and Caleb go to fire, and Caleb wins. So Sally is fourth place. um, yeah, I mean, I think Sally could have had an opportunity like with that idol the last round, and like if she keeps Keely around as a bigger threat, then Sally could have potentially made it to final three. But I do think she really screwed up last round.
I think this was a big mistake from Loz. I feel like
Oh
this
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
real chance for Loz to make a big move. And
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
like realistically, Loz is going to get to the end with whoever wins that final challenge. I think both would choose Loz, thinking that it's potentially an easy win, which I
Right.
don't think it actually would have been. And Loz would have had something really definitive to say, like, that's my move. I turned on my ally, and she's going to get to the end anyway. Um, Whereas kind of just giving Caleb the opportunity to like show off in front of the jury,
Yeah.
even if Sally came back in, whoever comes back in, they've just had a big moment. It's like I think if there's a chance to just take someone out and avoid fire, absolutely do that because you don't want to give someone that's already got a good resume another chance to show the jury what they've got.
Right. That's true. That's true. Austin, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I just keep looking back at this whole merge, and I almost go to the theory of mistaken like moves. Like almost everyone just had some hiccup a round before, a round after that just like destroyed the entire game for them. And it's always like Michael hit it on the head of what I was thinking. Like why, like I said earlier, Caleb probably always goes to, or at least fire making, but that's because Laz is so damn loyal to him, and Laz is just not gonna do it. And she probably goes to final two if Caleb just goes home here. I mean, I I don't know. It yeah, it's just a bunch of hiccups. I just keep thinking about this whole season going to final three, and then
Yeah.
again, Caleb actually. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but Caleb's the only one at this point that doesn't hiccup, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, everybody else, again, we've talked about it all season in these recaps that people, again, like you said, Austin, literally make a move like around too late or too
Mm-hmm.
early. And like it's just, yeah, I I just find it baffling how it just continued to happen. So
And I do think like it's easy to get very game body about
well, yeah,
Survivor and in terms of this is the optimally right thing to do and see the game with the full totality of it with the edit we have. But like
yeah,
there is also a human element to it of I think she just really liked him. And I know that doesn't make a lot of game sense in terms of she's trying to win the game, but I just think ultimately she couldn't bring herself to do it and she wanted to give him a fighting chance, which I do respect, but like,
yeah,
yeah, you do have a chance to win, Laws. Like you're still there.
No,
yeah,
Michael brings a great point up because it's been done plenty of times in Survivor history where sometimes the heartstrings are just so tight. They're just like, I can't do it. I literally can't do it. And sometimes it bites them in the butt. Sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't, but I'd say a good amount of times it has.
Yeah, and I think the point that Michael made of like when we see everything from like the outside and see everything in like the picture we're getting, it's easier for us to say like critique things, but then when you're actually in the game, like it is so hard to like think as clearly because you don't know everything that's happening and you can only base it on what you know. So
Oh yeah.
so I get that completely. What were you
I
gonna say,
will
Michael?
say that like Caleb like dominated that fire challenge. Like he's
Yes.
gonna talk about a final tribal, like the speed that he did it. This wasn't a
Mhm.
Sundra. You know, I can't even remember the name of the player that
Sandra
he
and
was up
Becky.
against.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't that.
Yeah. I don't think anything will ever be that again.
And that just boosts his resume up
Right.
more. You know what I mean? Like, dude just
Yeah.
went nuts on a fire making.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, let's get to episode 23. Let's get to our final immunity challenge, where, of course, the loved ones show up, and it is a medieval torture rack. And this is very notable, as always, because we get Jackson in so much pain. Probably one of the most painful things I've seen on a Survivor season, where this man was crying because he was in that much pain. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite as painful as what Jackson was going through.
I
So
thought he was gonna pass out.
yeah,
Oh my god, I had literally thought he was just gonna fall right into David's hands at one point. Just
yeah,
absolutely out. I want to just say though, like compare it to like a crew where Ferris had to go up against and his, torture chamber. Like that's the type of crew Jackson kind of needed to get to it end with, or even a weaker, final three. Because dude's got Caleb, who's little. He's gonna be able to take more of that tolerance in that type of chamber. And then, I mean, Laws is fit. Like I underestimated her from the start, and she just was good at like certain endurance, certain challenges, and she was killing it in this one too. Like Jackson was just going to be struggling against those two in this type of final three, right? I mean,
yeah, 100%, 100%. This just wasn't made for him, and I don't think I've ever seen like a big guy do particularly well in these types of challenges. I mean, I guess David did win it, like an endurance challenge in All Stars, but like at the final three, but like generally it doesn't work out. And I guess Mark did as well in Blood versus Water, but
There were also very different ones.
yeah.
Like David's was just one position. It didn't get like increasingly harder,
Oh
but
yeah.
like
yeah.
from what I remember anyway. One before I get to the brutality of the challenge, I do just want to mention because I think it's funny that w- before the challenge, Jackson cuts like a full-on wrestling promo where he's like in the dead of night and he's just screaming intensity about how he's going to win this challenge, and it's literally a wrestling promo. And he said after the season, one of the main reasons he went on Survivor, or like, and one of the reasons he went on Survivor was this is his tryout for WWE. He
Oh
wants
wow.
WWE to see this and see what great promos he can cut so he can get a contract. So I hope it works out for him because he could
I
be
love
wrestling
him.
Grayson Waller next year.
Yeah.
I
That'd be
love it.
yeah. I again I do like Grayson Waller from Survivor at least. So yeah, I think generally Australian Survivor has done pretty well with their wrestlers. So.
Yeah, they're not done bad. And yet on the challenge, I I don't think I've ever been more emotional like about a final challenge. Like
Oh my
I've
god.
talked about like the family visit stuff where I'm like, they're not my family. I don't care. But it was really like it really pulled on the heartstrings. Like all of them, like Loz's kids coming to like cheer her on. The moment when Jackson falls, and like his mom's reaction on the bench of just like fear for him, and David like cuddling him on the way down, and Jackson just crying. It was brutal. Like I had tears in my eyes.
I
Yeah.
genuinely don't cry ever when I watch Survivor, and that was like a moment in a while where I actually was like actually tearing up a little bit. They did it so well in the edit of like dragging out how, you know, attached he's gotten to his mom throughout this journey, and how he's always wanted her, you know, like to see him as his individual. And he goes out there and he's like dying out there, just literally fighting so hard. And you have Caleb egging him on, and his mom's like rooting against, you know, for him, like, you got this. And then he just collapses into David's hands, and you just see him literally, the eyes are like bleeding out. He's like literally needs his feet up. I'm like, holy shit, I'm like dying here. This is intense, insane.
Yeah.
Oh well, Caleb just whistles.
Oh my god. Again, Chaos Gremlin.
I love it, honestly. He doesn't. He was like unfazed. He's like, I got to beat Law still.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to Caleb. He wins final immunity, and we get to the decision. I definitely thought Jackson was a goner. I was definitely going to be shocked if it was the other decision. And look, it turns out to be the other decision. Caleb decides to backstab Laws, shocking everybody, the audience, the jury. Like, we're all sitting there, like, mouth, jaw on the floor. Like, I definitely was not expecting him to vote Laws out. And like to have this rivalry that I guess we have been setting up the whole season of Jackson versus Caleb, and I think that did pay off very well. But I find it weird that, again, they hide the games of like a lot of the fallen angels, if they're particularly if they're women, and like generally they're playing really good social games, but they don't get the credit. Like Elle in season 1 had the same thing. Like, she didn't get nearly enough credit for her game and why she was viewed as a humongous threat. And I think Laws is the same way. Caleb was terrified that she was going to beat him. So I think it's crazy.
The only one point I really got here is when, you know, she went home, and then his reasoning for it is just funny as hell to me. Because when he originally sends Laws home, I'm like, okay, interesting, right? Like, because I was kind of like you. I'm like, oh well, you know, I could have seen it was either one way or the other, but okay. And then we'll talk about, you know, his tribal, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, so that's your reasoning? That is not even close to what I thought was the reasoning you would have done this.
Yeah.
I also think Jackson did a really good job of getting in his head, even before tribal. Like at the challenge, when Jackson says like, oh, maybe the person she wants to make a deal with is already on the bench, and he's like, huh, like, is she gonna take? And what's annoying is we never found out what Loz's decision actually would have been. Like, was Caleb's read right? They never say it. Because I don't think it was. I think she would have taken him. But they never actually tell us. And it's quite like an important point because it's a huge part of Caleb's pitch.
Yeah. I think she takes him. Like, I think she was all gung-ho on loyalty to Caleb, and she really didn't expect him to take her out. So
we do also get one last Simon shocked Pikachu face from the jury bench. It was like a full-blown one. Yeah, the look on the jury's faces was incredible. And like, it's so risky. But you know what? Maybe I'm overthinking this, but I think this, well, maybe not because he had such a bad pitch, but this could have sealed the win for him there and then, because it solidifies everything that Caleb is as a player. He's been chaotic the entire time. If the last thing he does in the game is something predictable, then he's not chaos. So taking Jackson is just saying, no, that is who I am, and I've been consistent since day one.
Yeah.
That's well said.
Yeah, I think that's very, very well said. Yeah, it's just like it is just crazy to me, like, because I feel like he's potentially burning Loz's jury vote. It doesn't end up happening that way, but like, it is a massive risk to just stab your ally in the back right at the end. Like, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, thinking back, Charlie with Maria, like, although they were both trying to backstab the other. So, but like, yeah, just
I think that just shows how loyal she was to him. Like, I definitely think she takes him no matter what. Also because of this, like, again, at Tribal, we'll talk about it. She's like begging him to like take it as his move. I'm like, oh my God, you guys just love this guy.
right. Right, absolutely. So let's get to episode 24, the first ever finale, where it's literally just the final tribal council and then the reunion. I was very shocked that this was the decision they made with
They fast forwarded this episode.
yeah, absolutely. So it is Jackson versus Caleb. We get in there. Laz is visibly angry, as I would assume someone would be when they get immediate, like right before the end, get backstabbed by their ally for 44 days. And then we get Caleb and Jackson's pitch. I mean, I didn't think Caleb's initial pitch was terrible. I think the bad part comes when like Mark is trying to literally coach him at Final Tribal and like basically is telling everyone why, like what Caleb's game was. And I know you had a problem with it, Austin, and like yeah, it was bad. Like
yeah, I mean, as we go through it, I'll give my comments too, because it's very PC. Like it's every time it's just like one part after another. Mark just like jumps in. He's like, "Oh, Caleb, say this. Oh, here you go, boy. Like, here you go. Here's another one. Say this part two." And then Jackson's over here giving his theatrics and his, his whole pitch. And I'm like, I like Jackson's more. I'm sorry. He's given more of his own, his side. I don't know.
I think with Jackson, it's like I like what he's saying too. I mean, like I think the big moves he was a part of, like even if they were in the pre-merge, to me, I think the pre-merge is essential. Like even if you're making moves there and maybe things aren't necessarily going your way in the post-merge, I think people shouldn't discount what you did in the pre-merge. I thought Jackson getting Harry sent home at like the end there was great in the pre-merge, and then the Asha vote. Like I think Jackson should absolutely get more credit for those moves because they were essential to getting him there. So
I think Jackson's like opening was maybe one of the best opening pitches I've seen at Final Tribal, where he literally goes through his entire game. He mentions the Harry Flint, like you said. I loved how he tied in all the alliances, naming them by name. He was like, "I'm the last one of the Beauty and the Beast still standing. I'm the last member of Kaput that didn't go kaput." And it was just so well laid out.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's where my frustration came in, and I was really annoyed by the whole Mark thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what was frustrating for me was I came into the finale totally fine with either Caleb or Jackson winning.
Mm-hmm.
I respected both of them. I thought it's win-win. And watching this final tribal, I was rooting so much against Caleb and for Jackson, but not because of anything Caleb was doing, just because of the jury. The final tribal is meant to be the players explaining their game, not who can politic votes better. And like, I'm sorry, like I love Mark. He was fantastic this season. I loved him in Titans versus Rebels, but like he interrupts Brooke. Like Brooke doesn't even get a question because Mark just says, "Well, actually, I'm going to take this moment to talk about Caleb," and then like he says, "Why don't you tell everyone how well you manipulated me?" And I get you were a big player, but you left the game like 3 weeks ago. There's a whole game that's been played since you've gone. It's not all about Mark and who
Yeah.
could manipulate Mark the best.
Yeah, that pisses me off when people like ask you to flatter them like on the jury. It's like this isn't about your game. Your game's not the one on trial. It's the finalists. Like I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I think Mark, he's high on his own supply a little bit here. And like I think he's like, oh, I'm a negotiator, I'm the diplomat, so I can, negotiate my way into
I will say this at least about Jackson, and Mark makes a good point. I will give Mark credit for this point. It almost sounds like I didn't perceive Jackson as not being a great social player. Maybe the edit like made me think differently, but he talks about how he felt that he was iced out and a few others were iced out by Jackson in the game, and will that cost him a vote. And then what's her name? I can never remember her name. Never thought I didn't need to say her name again. She's like, oh, name something about like in my past, like, do you know anything about me? And he's like, I honestly don't know. Like that makes me start to think, that was the only thing I could think of where the vote started to swing against him. Whereas Caleb's game was so much socially better that Jackson just took the hit so bad with that, I think.
Like I have no problem with Mark's question, but it's the fact that he jumps in on other questions after his turn is over. So actually, I think Mark has a really good point about. I agree, and I think Blanche's question is totally fair and legitimate. Like the fact that he didn't know anything about her after it reminded me so much of Jerry in Heroes versus Villains, where they're like, "Can you tell me anything about me?" And he's like, "No, I didn't really learn anything." So like, yeah, the Blanche is totally fair and legitimate to feel the way she feels about that, because that was her experience. And that would have been her question to go to Jackson with. But yeah, it just seemed like whenever the tide was turning into Jackson's favor, Mark would chime in with like, "Hey, here's this cool thing that Caleb did." And it just became this like jury like rallying for votes, and that's what annoys me, because I think Caleb played a great game and I think he's a fantastic winner and he deserves it. But it just doesn't feel like it was put over the line by Caleb.
Yeah, I agree in the sense of like, yeah, it's when someone asks you about your social game and you don't know anything about them, like I've definitely been through it before of like, if people don't talk to me in a game, like I'm probably not going to vote for you, because it, like, at least if someone talks to me, like talks game with me or whatever, then 100% like I would absolutely, vote for you. But if you don't talk to me, then I can't really do that, right? So,
and I honestly, after like hearing the pitches and looking at the jury, even like right now, honestly, like I don't know who Jackson could have flipped other than the ones that he got, purely based on how the merge went too, like socially, because he does end up flipping off Ben. Maybe that's when he ices everyone else, like Cameron and Keeley.
right.
Like I don't know. Like that's at least what I'm thinking. So it's tough for Jackson, even though I actually kind of liked his, like how he played the game a little more than Caleb. But like,
Yeah,
how you build the jury is huge, and I think Caleb did way better at that, like being able to be on the side of the jury than Jackson did.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and like I just feel like I I feel like with the edit also, again, I think one thing that dropped the ball a little bit is Cameron with Jackson. Like I wish they just showed us, like, because I feel like the storyline at the beginning of like building up, oh, Cameron is targeting Jackson, and then I feel like that
Totally forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, it literally went nowhere, and then obviously Cameron's not gonna vote for Jackson, so it's kind of like what was the point of that storyline? So
Do you know what I think? It just clicked with me. What I think is making me feel a bit like disheartened about the whole thing is it. I've always felt this way a little bit. That final tribal is just kind of performative and not important, and this drove that home, where it's like they all decided who they were voting for when they came in. The pitches didn't matter. It didn't matter how good or how bad the pitches were. The votes were going to be what the votes were. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Jackson deserved to win more than Caleb or Caleb deserved to win more than Jackson. Like that, I don't mind which one wins, but it just feels like the actual tribal was irrelevant. And if the final thing you do in your season doesn't matter every season, then you need to rethink it. Like my thing has always been, I think the jury should be sequestered. Like now that they're not doing Jury Villa anymore, like why not put them in a hotel for a week, 2 weeks, have them come in with only their shared experience with that player, and they get asked questions there at the end and make their decision rather than all this politicking.
yeah,
That's pretty fair. Like, because you can only imagine Mark was just, politicking probably the entire goddamn Jerry Villa too.
yes.
And like, it did feel that way a little bit. Like, it felt like they kind of came in, they were like, in the way they even asked questions and said statements, it almost wasn't like more questions than statements. It was more like statements than questions, or more like dragging answers out of them than asking them the heartfelt questions. Like it did almost feel like they already were set, 85+% individually, like what, way they're going to lean. And yeah, no, I agree. it kind of stings a little bit when you do think about it that way. And Jackson probably never had a chance anyway. Like,
Yeah, it's tough because like US Survivor and now Australian Survivor weren't really showing. I mean, I guess the one thing we got from Australian Survivor is we do get like people like their reaction just getting voted out and just arriving, but yeah, like we don't get like an actual jury villa like we used to, or Ponderosa in US Survivor. So it's like that is very odd to me. Obviously, US Survivor has its reasons. I don't know what happened with Australian Survivor, why they're not showing it, but
Viewership.
oh, that was probably, yeah. So yeah, let's so the biggest thing that going to the reunion, going to the finale live is of course David's epic vote delivery. I love that we got a way for the host to deliver the votes in such an epic fashion again.
I just want to like huge shout out to the team that makes Australian Survivor, because this felt so much like they want Survivor to feel like Survivor used to feel like.
Yes.
And it's little things like yes, it's cheesy, yes, it's silly, but it's so much fun. And it was my favorite thing every year. The one thing they didn't do, I wish they did, because hell, you've got 3 episodes with 4 players. Why not? Why didn't they do rites of passage
Yeah.
on the
Ooh.
final tribal? Like, if you're gonna go old school Survivor, go all out. But yeah, I loved the motorbike entrance. I loved like the Sydney Harbour Bay as like the backdrop and the reunion, and just the live votes, just so much more exciting with like a crowd. I love it, love it.
Yeah. Yeah, the rites of passage are always one of my favorite things from old school Survivor. Like I get that as an audience member, like maybe some of the players maybe not, they may not know someone, but like especially in a season with some returning players, or like I think it's just a nice thing in any season, but like especially anything with returnees. So
I mean, I want to shout out David too. I know he's not our boy, JLP, but like as the season started going on, I was getting fine with David. And then I don't know, I kind of actually enjoyed it. I'm not one of these haters like I see on Twitter that are like, oh, I hate David as a host. I'm like, he's kind of he's kind of himself. Like he's dressing himself. He's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not playing a charade, I feel like. So I was like, I kind of like David's fine with me.
Yeah, he grew into it, and I think I really enjoyed David as like it got about like halfway through once he actually just started being himself, and like
Yeah.
so I think David's fine as a host, and I think he's going to improve more. And like we remember back to season 1, 2016, that JLP was like the same way and had to learn because he was just kind of going through the motions like Jeff Probst would in season 1. So even sometimes spilling way too much information in season 1. So
Yeah, I think David did a great job.
yeah,
I think honestly, like most of the hate comes from people that either aren't watching it or just people like to embrace being nasty on social media. So it's just like, yeah, and I don't think there was anything he did in the season that annoyed me in 24 episodes. Nothing.
Yeah.
So the job of a host is to kind of just be there. It's not the show's not about him, and he didn't make it about him. And we know that David's a very, charismatic, charming person with a, he likes to talk about himself. He'd never made the show about himself, which was when we did the funeral of JLP podcast episode, when we learned the news. That was like all of our biggest worries about it. Like, is David gonna be the showman and make it all about himself? And he didn't do that. He just did a great job hosting. So yeah, I'm all aboard. Good job, DG, I think they like to call him.
Yes. Yeah, Davo. Even though that was Ben's nickname, but I still
Did
yeah,
you guys see the rock draw though? We're getting a rock draw next season.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
Yeah. That's what they said at the reunion. So that was interesting. I honestly was wondering what they were gonna use it for till they said it. So I'm like, I was so confused. But yeah, so yeah, Caleb wins 6-3 over Jackson, and then yeah, the reunion stuff. I mean, we get the reveal of next season is going to go to Malaysia, back like Borneo, back where Survivor all began. And I think that's amazing. So I'm interested in what theme they're going to do with new players, assumingly, although I think they could very easily bring returnees back again because I think it helps viewership. So I won't be surprised if it's like this season of bringing back other players, but for who they would bring back, I'm not sure.
He did say 24 new players for this season, but I was so excited about Malaysia being in, like, again, it's the same point about feeling like old school Survivor. Like, that was another fun thing that Jeff always did in the reunion, where it was like, and next season we'll be in Cambodia or China or wherever. And we don't get that anymore. So if Australian Survivor is going to start like going to new locations, it's like it just makes Survivor look different, and
Yeah,
that's so much fun.
agreed. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for next season to maybe improve. Not that the season was bad by any means, but like I do think there were issues that I had with it. Obviously the pre-merge idol swapping, that like they didn't define for the audience that these were, temporary idols that expired. But I guess that shouldn't be like a like the be all end all for the season. I think there were a lot of good things that were done. And I think like the returnees didn't like overtake the season necessarily, but they all got like their time to shine. So I thought that was nice. They all gave us a reason for those 4 being back. So
Yeah, I enjoyed the season. It's nothing I was like, oh, I love it. It's number one. Not like that, but it was good. I enjoyed it for the most part. I do agree with you. There was a little bit of weird editing that kind of gave me a little bit of distaste at certain points, but I mean, at the end of the day, I was very entertained with, especially with some pre-merge. Like there was times where I was just like, holy shit, they blindsided. Holy shit, they did this. Like it was a good season. I like it, especially the Kaput Alliance. Like, honest to God, that might be one of my favorite. Like, when Keeley did the idol thing, oh my God, I don't think I've ever been so excited to see a tribal. Like, I swear, it was so cool.
Yeah. I loved it as well. I thought it was a great season. And also we got rid of the non-eliminations. I think the players were a lot of fun. Like, yes, there's some editing issues, as there is with any season of Survivor. I don't know where I'd rank it, but I had a lot of fun. This was a really fun season to watch, and I think it'll be a one that is better when you rewatch it. So I had the exact same feeling about Brains versus Brawn 2, where I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. And then I did a rewatch of it, and I was like, damn, this season's really, really good. I loved Brains versus Brawn 2 when I rewatched it, so I'm gonna give it a rewatch. But yeah, solid stuff.
yeah, I may eventually do another Australian Survivor rewatch just on my own, just to like rewatch certain seasons again and kind of give a couple of them maybe another watch through. But yeah, that's it for Australian Survivor Redemption. Other than like we'll do our favorite players here of we can do of the season or of the week. So I mean I would say if we're going off of this week, like this finale week, I would have to give it to Caleb. Just I mean he won, he was the Chaos Gremlin, and like I think he did make these last 3 episodes pretty interesting. So I'll give it to Caleb. If we're going off of the season, I mean, there were some really entertaining players down the stretch. Even like I really enjoyed Ben for the like 2 weeks where he just went off.
Oh my God.
Simon was really fun this season. Brooke was fun. Mark was fun. I even enjoyed 5 episodes of Harry. Like it was. There was some really fun players this season. So, but I'll give it to Caleb.
I think actually my favorite player of the week is going to be Jackson. Just like he because of the genuine emotion that he brought out of me, even though he doesn't win the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jackson was fantastic in this week. Of the season, in my heart, it's Dirty Harry, but obviously, I mean, he wasn't around long enough to realistically make him my favorite. But shout out to all returnees. I think all 4 returnees were so much fun. They all delivered. Like Brooke is just incredible. But I'll give it to Keely because
Yeah.
the fact that she was given honorary returnee status despite being a first-time player, I did find it so funny that people were talking about how she never blinks. And there's just edits of her just staring into people's souls. Like, Keely's a fantastic player, and I'd love to see her again. Shout out, Keely.
Yeah, that's a good pick too. Austin.
Oh my God, Michael stole my exact two. God damn you! No, like 100% weak Jackson. Almost the exact identical thing that Michael said. Like I loved every moment of Jackson in this week. Like his strive to win that Final Four. You get the feeling that he needs it, he wants it, and he gets it. And then at Final Three, like everything. Like again, I don't think I've cried a little boy goat tears in a minute, and I literally got them from this guy. Like Jackson, like go be a WWE star, honest to God. Like you killed it, like emotion wise. But again, Keely, oh my God, did I love her this season. Like Brooke and her were like neck and neck as the weeks go on, and then I literally at one point I'm like, dude, I think Keely's better than Brooke right now. Like I literally think Keely's playing the best game on the damn island. So I gotta get it season wise, Keely.
Yeah, good picks there. Well, with that, that is it for our Australian Survivor coverage. So if you like what we're doing, subscribe, like, share, comment your thoughts. Let us know what you think on the season. And we will be finishing Survivor 50 on the channel, and then we'll figure out some other Survivor stuff, I'm sure, the rest of this year. So anything else you want to say, guys, before I end it?
What are we going to do without Australian Survivor for another year?
I know.
Watch me play the floor. I'm on it.
Yes. Thank you for go watch Austin play the floor. He's in it. So so it should be exciting. I just caught up on the most recent episode myself. So So
your topic is arithmetic, right, Austin?
Yeah.
Prove it. What's 2 + 2?
5.
Damn, he
wins. All right. With that, we will see you all next time for more coverage of Survivor and everything else on the Tribe of Nerds.